Greetings gamers and welcome back to another episode of Retro Raider. My name is Johnny Retro and today I'm going to share with you guys the recent games that I've been playing lately. First things first, let me just say this. I've received a lot of message from you guys, on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, etc. And the thing is that a lot of people, of course, approach me due to video games, and the funny thing is that a lot of people think that I only play retro games. Keep in mind that this is the name of the show, right? This is the Retro Raider show. I call myself Johnny Retro, but the thing is that this is kind of my, my retro gamer side, but that doesn't mean that I just play retro video games. This is just a topic that I chose to talk about here on my channel. But most of the time, I'm playing, modern games, especially current gen console games. And for all the newcomers here on the show, well, this segment, what have I been playing, is exactly that. It is just another opportunity for me to talk about video games. And yeah, I shared the games that I'm currently playing. And if by any chance, if you're new on the channel, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you won't miss a thing. Okay, no intro needed. Let's just start with the first one that I have right here. Harvest Moon, the brand new Harvest Moon game. That is right, Harvest Moon One World. And to be honest guys, I actually got an early access to the game, to the Switch version that I have right here. And I reviewed the game on CA Notícias, partners here on the channel, shout out to CA Notícias. And I have to be honest guys, here's the deal. I usually don't talk about, games that I don't like here on the channel. I mean, here on the Retro Raider show, if I'm going to give a bad review, I just don't do it. I prefer to not talk about if it is going to be, trash talk or if it is just going to be negative. Of course that we have to be honest about it, right? But that's why we have other platforms. In my case, I write reviews online. And my review was not a very good one. I played the game for the review. I actually quick played the game because I was just not enjoying it. But I decided to give it another try, but in vain. I really didn't like the game. Which is a shame because I'm a fan of the series. I think that Harvest Moon is amazing. The first one on the Super Nintendo or the Super Famicom, I used to be a huge fan of the Game Boy Color Harvest Moon game. I didn't play the entire series, but I was very hyped for this new one because it was going to be a brand new thing, a brand new entry, a brand new concept. And on paper, the new ideas sounded great. But then the whole, portable farm, and I don't know, the game just feels empty. It is just empty and boring. But I would like to know about you guys. Did you play One World? And let me know down below your thoughts on it. So yeah, I'm not bashing the game. I just wanted to share this with you because it has been a very long time since I got really disappointed with a hyped game. Now, another game in which I'm working on a review, Atelier, the Mysterious Trilogy. That's right, I'm currently playing the Atelier Mysterious Trilogy Deluxe Pack for the PlayStation 4, and yeah, this includes the trilogy or the Mysterious Trilogy of this iconic RPG franchise. You guys know I'm a huge fan of RPGs. I'm always playing one RPG at least, and I love to find out new franchises because one thing about RPGs is that, especially JRPGs, which is the case of this one, is that you really need to invest a lot of time because usually these games are big. Again, shout out to CA Notícias because yeah, I'm going to work on a review of the PlayStation 4 version of this trilogy, and this is actually my entry point in the Atelier franchise. So these three games, this trilogy, is part of the kind of the same universe. That's why it is called the Mysterious Trilogy. And I believe there's also a little bit of remastering here going on because the first game, I believe that it was originally released on the PlayStation 3, so it's kind of a old game, if you will. And yeah, I'm having fun so far. It's a beautiful game, it's interesting, it's kind of quirky, but one thing that I'm loving about it is that it is a modern game, right? These are modern RPGs, but they do have an old school vibe to it, on the mechanics and the fact that you really need to grind. And that is something that it used to be mandatory in RPGs, right? You had to grind. That's one of the reasons why I got into JRPGs especially. A lot of people don't like that, and that is totally okay. A lot of people don't like, turn-based, etc. But I really liked the grind in RPGs, and these definitely have, that old school vibe to it. Again, so far I'm on the first game. I just took a small glance at the second and third game. Those look way better. It's not that the first one looks bad or anything like that. I mean, I'm playing it on the PlayStation 5, and it is not like it is kind of, optimized for the PlayStation 5, nothing like that, because again, I'm playing the PlayStation 4 versions, but on the PlayStation 5. And so far with the first game, I'm really enjoying it. So it's going to take me a while to play the whole trilogy, of course, and to write the review, but as soon as I have it, I'll let you guys know. And again, just for fun, let me know down below if you play any of the Atelier games. Are you currently playing the Mysterious Trilogy? Did you play the original game, which I believe it was released on the PlayStation 1? Let me know if you're a fan of the series down below. Now, another game that I'm playing, this time a PlayStation 5 game. I used to be very much into online gaming, especially MMOs. As you guys can see right here, yeah, World of Warcraft fan. Unfortunately, nowadays I just don't have that much time to invest on an online game, because usually these games, take a whole lot of your time. So unfortunately, I just had to quit. I had to quit MMOs, and I was never, a competitive guy. I played a couple of games, competitive games online, for example, Tekken 7, just for fun, just a couple of rounds. And I was never into racing games, but I'm currently playing, and you guys know where this is going. Destruction All Stars on the PlayStation 5. I was very skeptical about this game, because I thought it was going to be like, those, Royale type of games, like almost Fortnite, if you will. Again, nothing against that, but it really looked like, a kid's game in my opinion. But the other night, my girlfriend went to bed and I just stay up all night, as I usually do. Yeah, bad habits, guys, don't do it. Anyhow, I was bored, and I was just, browsing my PlayStation library, looking for something to play, something free to play. And I decided to, well, let's give this one a go. Turns out that it is a very fun game. I'm really having a blast with it. It kind of reminds me Destruction Derby Arenas on the PlayStation 2, one of my favorite racing games of all time, actually. And it is just fun, and it's not like I'm super competitive on it, but I just like to play a couple of rounds, once in a while. The characters are very goofy. The whole game is just, crazy goofy. But I like the fact that, you have the battle arenas, but you can get out of your car, and it is just pure mayhem. Does it has a lot of replayability? Well, no. I actually think that it is kind of a gimmicky game. Very simple, but yeah, it's fun. And let me honestly tell you, it has been a while since I last played a racing game of any kind. Now, let me just put the Switch on the side, and let's talk a little bit about retro games. Yeah, of course that I'm currently playing a retro game. For a couple of months, I would say since the beginning of the pandemic, I've been all about the PlayStation 2. I'm really with the PlayStation 2 mood right now. In terms of gaming or retro gaming, especially in terms of collecting also. I truly think that this is the perfect time to get into these games, especially if you like game collecting, to jump into this generation. Not just PlayStation 2, but the original Xbox, of course. Unfortunately, the Dreamcast and the GameCube are a little bit more expensive. But even if you compare the Dreamcast with other Sega systems, or the GameCube with other Nintendo systems, that sweet spot, that generation, is the cheapest and easiest one to get into right now, in my opinion. But I've always been a PlayStation 2 guy, and PlayStation 2 truly is my favorite video game system of all time, thanks to its amazing and diverse library. I recently finished these two games on the PlayStation 2. One, it is kind of a hidden gem, launch title actually, and the other one is a game that you guys are not going to believe it, but I never played it before until now. The first one, a game by Squaresoft. Now, when we think about Squaresoft, we usually, the good old Squaresoft, right? We usually think about RPGs, JRPGs, right? And you're right. During the 16-bit era, in my opinion, those were the golden days of RPGs. Everything that Squaresoft did for the Super Nintendo is just amazing. Then moving on to the PlayStation 1, we had some amazing exclusives by Squaresoft, right? And moving to the PlayStation 2, we also got some very good ones. Let's not forget Kingdom Hearts, my favorite video game of all time, as you guys know. But this game is not an RPG. This is actually a beat 'em up. A beat 'em up by Squaresoft, I'm not kidding. And I'm talking about The Bouncer. That's right, The Bouncer. I believe that this game was originally released in the year 2000. So it was a kind of launch title for the PlayStation 2, and back in the day there was a lot of talking about this game. A lot of screenshots. I even believe that it was kind of a tech demo. And just look at these images. I mean, the game looks beautiful, right? I think that even for today's standards, the game looks good. But for some weird reason, and this game was released here in Portugal. As a matter of fact, I do have the Portuguese version of the game, right? But for some weird reason, I totally skipped this one. I really don't remember seeing this game back in the day. I'm not kidding. And I got the PlayStation 2 within the first couple of months that it was released. So I finished the game in one sitting, in one go, and I'm not going to talk a lot about it because I'm actually planning a review here on the channel. But just my overall thoughts on it, I think it is a decent game. It is a decent game and I did have fun with it. But it's weird, it's bizarre, because sometimes it doesn't feel like a game. It does feel like a tech demo. It plays good, I like the gameplay mechanics. Again, the graphics are just mind-blowing. I love the character models. If you look at it, this really looks like, an old school Squaresoft style JRPG, but again, it is not. It is a beat-em-up game. And one funny thing that I discovered, and this is one of the beauties of our hobby, right? No matter how well you know a game, you always discover something new to it, right? Going back to Kingdom Hearts, a game that I absolutely adore and love. I finished the game in multiple platforms, right? The original PlayStation 2 version. I also played the HD on the PlayStation 3, and of course again on the PlayStation 4. Kingdom Hearts, game that mixes Squaresoft, now Square Enix, with Disney, draws some influences from the bouncer. Or let's say that, usually what happens in Kingdom Hearts when it comes to Square is that you have Final Fantasy characters in the game, right? But you do have references in Kingdom Hearts from the bouncer. And I didn't knew that. I didn't knew that until now. Except for the fact that, Sion, the protagonist of the bouncer, looks a lot like Sora. Or let's say Sora looks a lot like him. Yeah, I could easily do a video dedicated only to that, but look at this guy, right? Sion. It's Sora. It looks just like Sora. So I would have to say that, yeah, this is kind of a hidden gem on the PlayStation 2 library. Really interesting one, and stay tuned because I'm definitely going to bring a review of the bouncer here on the show. Last but not least, a game that I finished last night. I'm not kidding. And I had tried this game before back in the day when it was released in 2006, I believe. But only now, during this past week, I finished this game for the very first time. I'm a huge Rockstar fan. I'm a huge GTA fan. And it is not like, Rockstar is just GTA. We all know that. As a matter of fact, some gamers prefer a lot of games that are not GTA. A lot of Rockstar games that are not GTA related. And this game kind of has its own cult following, if you will. I'm talking about Canis Canem Edit, also known as Bully. Yeah, I'm not kidding. This was my very first time playing this game by Rockstar. Yeah, not kidding. I believe that I picked this game, this beautiful copy, and I featured it on a pickups video last year, I believe. It is complete. I actually have two versions of the game, the original right here, and this is actually a pirate version of the game. Yeah, it is what it is. And yeah, my girlfriend was out for a couple of days. She had to attend to some personal family issues, and I was here, and I thought, well, I have some time for myself. What am I going to play? And I was thinking about jumping into another RPG like I usually do, but I decided, no, I'm going to play this one. I'm just going to play this one. This is it. And let me tell you, in 8 or 9 days that I've been playing this game, I've poured more than 24 hours into it. I finished the game. Not only I finished the main story, but I kept coming back to the game. Why I never played Bully back in the day? Well, first of all, I never owned the game back in the day. Again, this was 2006. And, the PlayStation 3 was already on the horizon. And, my mindset was already focusing on the PlayStation 3. It's not like I stopped playing PlayStation 2, but, for that I had GTA. And a very good friend of mine, Mario, and he used to live in the same neighborhood as me. This guy was the guy that always had the brand new game, the brand new releases. Now remember, the week he got this game, I went to his place, checking out the game, right? And I thought that the game was kind of childish, if you will. It really looked like GTA for kids, if you will. Keep in mind, I'm a huge fanboy of San Andreas, GTA San Andreas, right? That is my GTA game to go. And even though I was already 18 at the time, it was one of those things, I don't know, I kind of felt offended by this game. Offended for the fact that a lot of friends, a lot of people were preferring this game to GTA. Do I think that Bully is better than GTA? No way. But I kind of understand that, because this game truly is a masterpiece. First of all, it just amazes me that we're talking about a game that is going to turn 15 years old. I mean, the game aged so well in terms of graphics, in terms of, the story, in terms of the mechanics, because the game still plays very, very well. And even though I use a lot of emulation, when it comes to the PlayStation 2, I always play on the original hardware, with original controller, etc. And yeah, the game just plays super, super well. In comparison, even though it hurts to say this, but GTA San Andreas is a much more clunky game, and a much more buggy game compared to this one. And the thing that is making me going back to Bully is that even though this is not, an open world game, it's more of a sandbox situation here, the game has so much replayability to it. You have so much side activities, the races, it's like, the bicycle races. Then you have, arcade games within the game that are so much fun, have a bunch of collectibles. You have the mini games of the classrooms, and one thing that I thought that I was going to be bored is actually going to the classes, but that turned out to be a very fun hobby within the game, a very fun side activity, which, looking back, it is not like, maybe it is not a side activity because you do have a little bit of RPG elements to it, because if you attend the classes, you improve Jimmy's stats, right? The protagonist. Going to the town, I love the town. Going to the fair, skateboarding. And yeah, another game in which I'm not going to rambling a lot about, because, again, the game is turning 15 years this year. So maybe I'll make a special video. I think it is going to turn 15 in October, if I'm not mistaken. But now I totally regret for not playing this game back in the day. I did try it out, but I didn't finish it. Again, I was 18 years old when this game was released. I was not that much older than Jimmy. I believe that Jimmy is 15 within the game, and you can totally relate to that, high school mentality and environment, right? You have the jocks, then you have, the bullies, then you have, how's it called? The greasy kids. I really, really had a blast with the game, and I love the missions. Some of the missions were so much fun. And yeah, it got me a couple of laughs. I'm not going to lie. I mean, it's a game that it doesn't take itself too seriously, and it's kind of the trademark of Rockstar. Even GTA, I don't think that GTA takes itself too seriously. Although some Rockstar games are more serious than others, of course, if you compare this to, let's say, a Red Dead Redemption or a Manhunt. But yeah, this game has some really cool, cliches that are turned into comedy, and the comedy factor and Bully is just superb in my opinion. And again, it is another particular part of the game that aged very, very well. Fans have been waiting and wishing for a sequel. Let me be honest about that. I don't know if it would make sense to have a Bully 2, but I would say this: it would be amazing to have a remaster. Even though, it seems like I'm contradicting myself, because I'm saying that the game still looks beautiful, and it does, but let's not forget that there's a whole generation of kids nowadays, the kids that grew up playing, GTA 5, for example, that weren't there, right, when this was released, and for them, this might look like a bad aged game, if you will. A remake of Bully, please, Rockstar, make it happen. Can Scanim added? Yeah, what a game. And just for fun, guys, let me know down below, which game do you prefer? Do you prefer Bully or GTA? Let me know down below. And this one concludes the video, guys. These are the games that I've been playing lately, and please feel free to share your thoughts down below. What recent games have you guys been playing? Are you guys currently playing some modern games, retro games, console games, PC games, you name it? Let me know down below. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you have the extra time and patience, feel free to follow me on social media. I'm on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And as always, guys, take care of yourselves, take care of the gaming community, and game a lot.